Many people say that music is a universal language. If that's the case, I would like to use music as a platform to talk about health. My name is Dr. Moshe Lewis, and I'm a full-time practicing physician who loves music and the way it affects our brains, our bodies, and our well-being. I would like to invite you to tune in where we interview musical artists about health matters that are important to them. But the truth is, we'll be discussing topics that affect all of us. From mental health to body image, cancer screening to stroke, our health is truly our greatest asset. So the goal is to open the dialogue on health to embrace topics that we don't always like to talk about in a way that's raw, candid, and lit. Hopefully, these discussions will improve the health of our community. After all, your health matters to me, and if I can make it sound more beautiful, then that's something we should all listen to.
Music and medicine, when you hear those words, how do they speak to your heart?
Music and medicine. Music is medicine. You feel?
So the last surprise we had for you, Chris Duncan, was we purposely didn't talk about The First Family because Marla Gibbs was kind enough to join us today. And what was the show that you all worked on together? And just talk to me a little bit about that experience.
It was, in fact, The First Family. And wow, it is so great to see you, Marla.
So good to be seen and not viewed except on the screen.
And there it is, that wonderful timing. You know, I've had the good fortune to work with a number of icons in this business, like Marla. And it's one thing to work with someone with such extraordinary credits and talent. It's another thing when that person happens to be good people. To work with Marla is to experience joy, deep joy. And so I'm grateful.
You know all your lines, don't you?
You study.
See? You see? The talent is just there. That's what it is. So it was 3 years on The First Family of just pure joy. What an incredible cast. It was a joy to work with, you, Marla, with Gladys Knight, Jack Gay, and the late, unbelievably funny Spoon, John Witherspoon.
Yes.
So sorry he's no longer with us, but what an incredibly funny man. And again, good people. Kalita, who played my wife, Kalita Smith, just so many incredibly talented people in that cast.
And don't forget your children.
Yes, all of the kid, they were all just incredibly talented. It was a gift to go to the set. And we were talking about chemistry before. You can't predict it. You can't work on it. Can't buy it. It's either there or it isn't. And we all had it as a cast in that show as well. So another cherished, really special experience for me with memories that I will never forget.
Yeah.
Watching you over all the years, I said, watching you work over all the years, and then to suddenly get an opportunity to work with you. I can't tell you how much.
That movie you did before you did that show.
Before Jamie's show?
Yeah, you did a movie, and my son and I came to meet you afterwards. He just really loved that character so much.
I know you're talking about Original Gangsters, or
Yeah.
or are you talking about the Jamie Foxx show?
No, not the Jamie Foxx.
Original Gangsters.
Original
Gangsters.
With
the
Jim
movie.
Brown
She
and
said the movie, right?
and Ron O'Neal and the whole group. Yes.
Yeah, you stoked me.
Well,
Oh,
thank you, Marla. I will not forget those words. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm grateful for that because that came out, Original Gangsters, it came out the same year that the Jamie Foxx show did, 96. So that's what helped me to establish myself as an actor with range in the business because they saw the character of Braxton and then the character of Spyro in Original Gangsters in the same year. So that was good fortune for me.
It's wonderful
Mm-hmm.
and well-deserved as well. And, it is so wonderful that you can reflect on good times that you have shared in working with somebody, as we talked earlier. And so What has been, I want to ask you, one of the very last projects that you worked on that we might be looking for?
The current project I've been working on and continue to work on is CBS's The Equalizer.
With Queen Latifah, I should say.
The Queen herself, the wonderful, talented, just awesome
That's
Queen
what I
Latifah, and
saw you on the show. Aren't you going to be the love interest for her auntie?
a love interest
I
to the
saw that.
wonderful, incredibly talented Lorraine Toussaint. Yes.
Exactly. I just saw you the other night on the show. They
Okay.
aired it.
Yes.
Yeah, I said, I know him. He's going to be on the show.
Yeah,
Cool.
my character was introduced in episode 503, so the third episode of the 5th season, and there's been an episode since then, but I'll be in a number of episodes throughout the season.
Awesome. That's a great show. Wonderful show to be connected with. Oh, my goodness.
Great times.
Good for you.
Great times, yeah. I've been, just thinking about this, The First Family, Jamie Foxx Show, a show I did called Swagger. The list is one that I'm, again, so proud of, and I feel so fortunate to embrace these characters and to meet such wonderful, talented people. Your timing, Marla, it just has, it's as sharp as a tack to this day. Truly, what a gift. What a gift. And I just appreciate, again, your goodness, your warmth.
Well, I really appreciated working with you, especially after seeing you in that movie.
He's a lot nicer in person.
Yeah. That was something else. I'm so glad I was able to do that role, because it kept a lot of casting directors thrown.
Right. And working with such royalty and stars in that movie, that original Gangsters in and of itself, all of the, like you said, the OGs and Ron O'Neal and Jim Brown and Pam Grier, Fred Williamson and Richard Roundtree.
Yes.
And oh my God, how fortunate was that? That is wonderful.
It was as surreal as it gets.
Yes.
You know what my first scene was? A confrontation scene with Jim Brown.
And you lost, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
I couldn't remember. I've seen it,
No,
obviously.
I didn't.
But with
I
Jim,
gave Jim a handful. He had to deal with it.
he had to bow down.
Jim had to deal. Jim Brown, that man. Arguably, obviously, the best running back in NFL history, right? And of course, he did so many films and whatnot. But Jim had a personality that was so dominating and forceful and intense. And I just remember him, this is just who Jim was. You could be talking about anything, any subject.
Right.
Now, here you are, you're a doctor.
Right.
In
Educated,
orthopedics.
supposedly.
Yes. No, come on now. Jim would find a way to let people know, no matter what they were talking about, he would let you know not only that what you were saying wasn't quite up to snuff, but he would also let you know why he knew more than you.
Yeah.
So here was his, I'm not joking, here was his saying throughout all that time filming in Gary, Indiana. People could be talking about orthopedics, and out of nowhere, here's what you'd hear. All that. Now, let me tell you why what you just said is bush. Now, you want to talk about orthopedics, you're going to have to step to me. What? We talking about, Jim? Any subject, he would say, all that. Now, let me tell you why what you just said is bush.
Yeah, I hear you, and while you're saying that, I know Jim very, very well. I knew him well. I played golf with him quite a bit, but what you're saying is very true, and how he would be so, you could say something or do something, and he would look at you kind of cross-eyed, and he would question you, too, first of all, to say, where'd you hear that from? And like, even when we were playing golf, it's like, so, who's some of your favorite players? I rambled off some names and stole some such stuff. He was like, oh, really? Then you can. I've known him for ages, Gather, but that was the first time we played golf. He said, "Yeah, you know what you're doing, don't you?" And then we played with Joe Torre one time. Joe Torre, he hits the ball when you putt with one hand, with the right hand. That's how Joe learned. He has one behind and one here. And so we were all on the same team on the celebrity golf tournament. Joe Torre is putting the ball like that. Jim looked at him. He said, "What the kind of motherfucking putting is that?"
That's Jim Brown.
He said, "What kind of fucking putting is that? What you gonna put with one hand, boy? What's wrong with you?" And he would always hate people to be around him. And his peripheral, you could not be anywhere because he was like, "And you got to move out the way. Now you're in my way. I can't see that. Move out the way." But he was that kind of guy, such a great guy, but he was so forceful.
You
and
get it.
I know exactly.
There was a moment in filming Original Gangsters where Jim, he was listening to Bob Miner, the wonderful stunt
Stunt guy.
stunt coordinator.
Stunt coordinator.
And Bob was taking us through some fighting moments, right? My character and Jim's character were going to get into this fight. Bob is taking us through the choreography, and out of nowhere, what do you hear? Oh, that. This ain't no goddamn karate movie. Now look here, young man, this is what you gonna do. Okay, we gonna handle this way. And suddenly Bob is going, what? Because Bob didn't take any mess. But the director, he just shrunk. He didn't know what to, how is he gonna confront Jim?
Right, that's right.
And so he was just a character throughout that whole thing.
Let's rest his soul.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you were talking about timing earlier, Marla, where do you feel like you got that timing, just that wit? Where do you feel like you got your timing and your wit? Just being so quick with the...
Witty.
I never see what other people see. Just neighborhood, that's the way the guys talk, you know.
Do it.
They always come up with something.
And yeah, the men would always say something really stupid, probably the girls, when we were all growing up and young ladies. So we had, instead of calling them saying they were stupid or crazy, we had to come up with something witty so we wouldn't insult them too much. So that's where I'm sure you got it from.
And again, just as we were talking about chemistry, which you can't force, timing is a gift. You can teach people about the reality and the necessity of timing when it comes to comedy, but you can't teach that magic that's there when it just hits. And that's exactly what Marla has.
People always say timing, but I say everybody has timing. I said the way you know, you're on the freeway and the man has his left turn signal on, but you know he's going right. You don't know how you know, but you know he's going right. But if you pay attention to what you see, you'll end up in an accident.
That's true.
And when you walk in a house and you're looking for somebody, you call them. So-and-so. They don't answer. You take a few more steps, you call them again. They don't answer. You assume they're not there. They're in the bathroom. They didn't hear you. Then they come out. But it's timing.
That's true.
Right? You expect certain things at a certain time. That's what timing is.
That's what it is. Like if somebody's sleeping in the room, you say, "You awake? You awake?" You know they sleep. They say, "Well, damn, I am now." You know, you sleep? Yeah, I'm asleep. God dang it. That's why I'm talking in my sleep, right?
It's instinctual. Timing is instinctual.
It is.
It really is a gift. So, because when you're watching it at play and scene work, it brings joy, it brings laughter, it just brings good times. Yeah.
And you expect an answer in a certain length of time. You don't know what that time is, but you do. You know, if you're doing a play and someone says something to you and you don't answer right away, the audience moves on. They think you're not going to say anything. They expect an answer within a certain length of time.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So all of that is timing.
That's right. Even when you're doing a scene or something and you want to take that, what they call that pregnant pause after somebody delivers their line to you and it's your turn. And then somebody out and the director says, line, give them their line. It's like, I know my line. I wasn't ready to deliver my line. You're waiting for that right timing. And it's, you have to give that person that respect and let them go ahead and take the little pregnant pause. Why do they call it a pregnant pause? Does anybody know that?
It's interesting. There's also in the theater a Pinter pause.
Okay.
Harold Pinter. So I don't know why they call it a pregnant pause per se. I don't know where that.
Have you ever heard that?
I've heard of
Yes,
pregnant
right.
pause.
Have
Yes.
you heard that, Marla? Nobody knows where it comes from because when you're pregnant,
Yeah,
nothing
not 9 months.
pauses. That's very
Literally.
ironic, isn't it? Okay.
And also, if you don't end the line like the end of a sentence, you end the line. Some people talking, they go up at the end of. So the audience is expecting you to say something else, but you're not. You just went up.
I used to do that all the time. Oh my goodness.
Right. I have a question, if I may. So Marla, in all of your wonderful roles over the years and the amazing shows you've been on, do you have a particular show and experience that is particularly dear to your heart?
I would say the Jeffersons, but it got to be 227 because I got to produce and write and do other things besides that.
Got it.
And on that note, talk to us about sort of taking the reins, because I know you kind of had to pull him away from Norman, so to speak. Talk to us about taking over and getting involved at that level, because you had to kind of press Norman on that.
Yeah, the writing and everything else. You wore different hats. So he's saying with Norman Lear giving you that opportunity that you just went ahead, because I'm sure at some point the writers and different people were writing and directing and doing things, but we as people know ourselves better than they would know. So I'm sure he might have, did he allow you that opportunity? Did you just take the reins to do it and suggest that you do it?
Said, why don't you and I do the show? He asked me what I was doing with the play. It was a play first. And I said, well, I'm talking to Columbia. He said, well, have you signed anything? I said, they haven't got around to talking about no money. So no, we haven't signed nothing. So he said, well, why don't you and I do it? I said, well, that's home. Okay. Meanwhile, he hired 2 other young men who were African American, and they didn't want to do anything that I wanted to do. So we had another meeting, and Norman was there, and guy was there and said, Marla wants us to do some things. Some things I cannot accommodate her on. So I said, well, why don't you tell us what those are? So he says, well, he didn't see any reason for Lester in the show at all. He didn't see any reason for me not to own the building. I had 3 things. I would not own the building under any circumstances. I said, my romance with the masses is that I'm one of them. We are the have-nots. We are not the haves. I said, I don't know what it will do to my career to be a have, but I'm not willing to find out. I said, I would not do the show without a black man. I said, now, everybody asks me, why don't they let you have a man? I said, so everybody wants to see me with a man. So I've been without a man for 11 seasons. I would not do a show without him. I said, I don't have to have him at the beginning, but I better not get him before too long. And third thing is I want the show to be in California. So we sit on the porch because that was the main thing. I didn't win that one, but I gave that up. But I did get the man, and I did not own the building. So I can have the same problem everybody in the building has, So that was my thing. So that's why I had to take over the show. So I said to Norman, why don't you want me to be a producer? I just wanted them to come talk to me. That's all. Well, because we're up to 2 or 3 in the morning. And I said, well, I'm willing to do all that. So 15 minutes later, we were still at the same point. So I said, listen, thanks for this meeting. Thank you very much. And then I went over to our attorney, which was his attorney too. And I said, now I want to be exec producer.
Exactly.
There
He
you
said,
go.
they're not going to do that. I said, then I'm not going to do the show. So he said, well, wait a minute. Do you want to do this for the glory of it, or do you want to do the work? I said, I want to do the work. He said, if I get you all rights, courtesies, and privileges, would you take it? I said, yes. So that meant I can't get the money, I can't get the title, but I could do the show. So I did. I don't think they ever told anybody else. They might have told him to act like you agreed to it, but everybody kept wondering, what the hell is she doing? Why is she doing this? Why is she doing that? I said, they ain't told nobody, but I don't care. I'm going to do it.
That's right, Marla.
So I ended up doing everything I thought. And God is wonderful because God will back you up. And I don't know how I knew all those things to do, but I did. And so I did it. And then I think of writing like the homeless show. I was a friend of the homeless advocate. And I told him, I said, can you get some homeless people for this episode? So he said, yes. So we had homeless people come, and they were so good. I couldn't believe it. And first thing they did was give them a bath, change your clothes. And I said, no. But they did it.
Oh,
But the people, they knew their lines. They did everything right. So then I said, when I wish Hollywood would just hire some of the homeless as extras. When you have a big film, you got a lot of extras. Some of them could be homeless people. What's the difference? But some of our worried actors, we have enough hard time. What she talking about? She wanted homeless. We have a hard enough time getting jobs. I said, so it never happened, you know. But those are things that you think about being inclusive, you know.
it's good. And, a lot of people just don't understand or realize who are not in the industry all that it takes to make a show, even to do a little 30-second commercial. All of very, very important people, from the grips to the crew to the lighting to the writers to the director, executive producers, and people to drive the cars and showrunners and everything like that. And for you as a woman of color to step into wear all the hats that you did during that era and time is very commendable. And I don't think, well, there are a few now that are finally stepping into the do it all kind of situation, executive producers and everything. And you had such hand in the writing, and that is so commendable. And so many times we know in coming up through Hollywood that they did not want women to have a man.
We never realized that we're all one.
That's right.
Absolutely.
No matter what race we are, we're all one.
Mhm.
Here, here.
I said, the way you find out you need a kidney transplant, and nobody in your family is a match, and nobody your family knows is a match. And all the people that you try to get to come, they're not a match. But here comes somebody of another race, and they're a match. I said, now does that happen? You know, my son had a friend, and he needed a kidney transplant. He was in the hospital, and this white guy he did not know heard about it and came up and offered him a kidney. Gave him a kidney. He's doing fine today.
Wonderful. Has no
Because
color.
we have interchangeable parts.
They have
We
no
know we
color.
look different, but inside we're all spiritual beings. We all came from the same place, and we're all going back to the same place.
Spiritual beings with a human experience.
Beautifully stated, Marla. Beautifully.
While we're still on the show, though, I want to ask you about discovering Regina King.
Regina was in the play with me.
Mm-hmm.
She was a little girl down the street who got on my nerves. She was not my daughter. But when we went to do the show, the little girl that played my daughter was a little older, so they weren't a younger. So I said, Regina looks like Hal. They both got sandy hair and light eyes. So she could be his daughter for real. So we fought for her, and it got her. And she and I were just, she's such a good little actress.
Mm.
I mean, the world knows that.
Now, absolutely.
And then one of the last questions, because I love your answer to this. How old would you say you are?
And in 31, you do the math. Don't tell me, because I don't count the way you do.
Exactly. I love it. I love it.
Well, God says we're spiritual beings as well as physical. As spiritual beings, we don't have no time and we don't have no age. So I choose to vibrate on 30. That way I work as long as I want to. I never think about age. I just think about what I want to do, which is what we're supposed to do, because all there is now. There is no other time.
That's right. That's all we know.
Absolutely.
How about, tell me a little bit about Marla's Memory Lane. And, since we are music and medicine here, and that can be something, you can drop into the whole essence of you sang, you're a singer, and you have had such a wonderful place there many years ago. A lot of people may not know a supper club, Marla's Memory Lane. Tell us about that a little
I
bit.
grew up in Chicago. We grew up on jazz. We skated to jazz. We danced to jazz. So when you say jazz is dead, how can my music be dead?
Never.
So I opened the club, and at the time I was dating a jazz musician who told me all the information about what was happening with jazz. So I ended up hiring a whole lot of jazz, more jazz than anybody. So everybody started coming to the neighborhood to hear jazz because nobody else was playing it.
Nope.
They said it was dead. But when I got through, they started playing it again. And then, of course, our people went over there. So ended up, my whole neighborhood changed.
Yeah.
So I couldn't stay,
Yeah, we loved it.
or I'd still be there.
You did a wonderful thing when you opened that supper club, and we all, I remember Glenn Turman and all the actors and all the people coming there. It was so wonderful.
I had to give two ladies credit. Two African American ladies came over to Crossroads, my
Yeah.
acting.
That's right, your theater.
And they said, Miss Gibbs, we said, if anybody knows, where in the neighborhood could we take our friends when they come to town? Is there any nice place we can go to? I'd always have to say the warehouse at the marina.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was in my head. So I said, we need a restaurant over here. So I ended up with a good chef.
Yes, you did. Oof.
And I put some things in, like when I was in New Orleans, I put, what is it?
The bar. I remember the bar. That nice bar everybody would go to. Don't forget the bar. Okay. But the food was
So it was fun coming up with menus and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I still didn't serve no pork. So people say, how come you don't serve pork? I said, there's plenty of restaurants are serving pork. I'm not serving any pork, okay?
Bless your heart. We never missed it.
Once they said it took 7 years to get pork out your system, I gave it up.
Thank you for sharing all that with us.
Absolutely. Truly a living legend. Just so delighted to have both of you join us on this show and share your pearls of wisdom and things like that. We're just in awe of both of you and really appreciate your time so much. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank
It's an
you.
absolute pleasure.